What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about how to break down any defender. This is going to be a comprehensive video on how to break a defender down off the dribble. There's certain nuances and things that you have to be able to do, so let's get right into it. So the first thing that you have to recognize is your defender faster, stronger, more athletic, slower? You want to be able to understand the matchup that you have. If you have a defender who's slower than you can do pretty much anything and be able to get by. So it's not even you have to read too much, you're playing. Then you have to recognize who you are as a player. Am I good at shooting? Am I good at driving? You have to be able to take these things into consideration, because even if you do have a ton of space, you still might not want to shoot that. That might not be your game. You want to be able to know your game and then know your matchup. So that's the first thing, before anything else. Next thing you have to do is you have to be able to set up your defender. Now, there's multiple ways to do that, but the most common ways are to either step to the side, shuffle to the side, skip, or walk backwards. With all of these, you're gonna be able to get your defender to bite. That's the goal. The ball outside your frame makes it easier for me to drive and also read. If I put the ball outside my frame, he can reach for it. Now, if he reaches one way, I can swipe down and go this way. If he reaches across, I might change directions. I might look at something else. Okay? Being able to set up is very important, and you wanna be able to slow down the game. So I can shuffle and slow the game down, and then I can make a movement off of that. Now, the next thing we're gonna talk about is the defender who's playing in between. So basically, when I'm handling the ball and I have space between me and my defender, there's some defenders that are gonna be better than others. Some defenders play really high, and that's when I'm obviously gonna go by. Some defenders are gonna play further back, that's when I'm gonna shoot it. But there's gonna be a select few defenders who are really, really good at staying in between, playing in between, where if I drive to the left, they're gonna cut me off, while if I look to shoot, they're gonna put a hand and it's gonna be heavily contested, or they're gonna block me. So in those cases, that's when we have to get a little bit more creative. We have to be able to give hesitation, we have to be able to give little nuances of pace, and we have to be able to fool our defender in different ways. So for instance, I set up with my shuffle right here. If he's playing in between, I might want to stun at him a little bit and then maybe shuffle again. That's gonna allow me to create a little bit more separation. Fake a drive. Sometimes I might shuffle, be there, and then I'll be able to play. Sometimes I might step back off that first one and then be able to try to read. But the goal is that I set up, I want to make him bite. If he doesn't bite, I set up again, and I can give little nuances of pace. Next thing that we have to talk about with breaking down the defender is driving angles. So if I have the ball here and I give him my setup, my goal is typically to attack right by his frame. Reason being, if he's up here with me and I drive past his frame, that's gonna allow me to, one, get contact, two, get his body turned, so that way he's out of position to guard me if I'm gonna stop. And then lastly, it allows me to initiate and do whatever I wanna do. I wanna dictate, not him. So when I drive, there are times when I could pick this angle, you know what I mean, to get to a jump shot, pick a spot. But in all reality, for most players, we want to be able to try to turn the corner, which is going to allow us to stop and get the best separation possible, rather than just driving to a spot where he can maybe meet me or beat me to the spot if he's more athletic. So in any case, you want to be able to get good driving angles right by their frame. Now at this point, you've broken down your defender and you got contact to drive. Now, we got to talk about what the defender is going to do and our options. So first thing, if I have the contact and I get in front, that's where I'm going to keep the contact and go finish. Now, there are certain times when that's not going to happen. I'm not going to get as good of a drive. He might force me out. So there's a couple things that I can do here. If he reaches super hard towards this side, that's when I might want to change directions. Now, in different spots, it's different ways. So if I'm getting down towards the basket, that's where I might go spin move and try to get to a finish. Now, if I'm further out and I'm not in the midst of all the bigs and all the pressure, I might change directions through my legs and get to the rim that way. But there's a lot of nuance with it. Sometimes, if he's gonna cut me off, it might be easier for me to just stop and shoot. Or it might be easy for me to, if there's space over here, when I'm driving, bounce it to the space to get to a shot. It really depends on your bag, what you're good at, and what you like to do. Now, as I'm driving as well, a common read that you're gonna have to have when breaking down a defender is how committed they are. So if I start moving really fast towards the rim, usually the defender's gonna try to catch up as fast as they can as well. So in that case, you wanna be able to read their momentum. This is very important. So if I'm driving and I feel like he's really moving, that's when I'm gonna be able to stop, with or without contact. I wanna be able to have the 4 different stops in my game. either side. So if I'm going left or right, I want to be able to do these stops, which most players can't do. The 4 types of stops, we got punch stop here. It's probably the least effective one, which trainers teach the most. You also have under drag, so if he cuts me off on my left foot, I want to be able to drag it back that way. We also have inside out speed stop, which will happen not as often, but could happen. And then we got invert stop, which is stopping on my inside foot, pulling the ball back. So being able to have all these stops in your game is going to allow you to create maximum separation when driving and reading their momentum if they're really pushing. So if you guys enjoyed that video, make sure that you guys leave a like, make sure that you guys subscribe, follow me on Instagram at JQ Basketball Training. We'll see you guys in the next video.